like 75,000 different diagnoses of disease is a scam, because something that is there is only one disease, and the one disease is the departure from the original design, which is just things degrading and falling apart. And how is it that I could take mercury and I could just drink it and you could drink it, and for you it could cause, schizophrenia, for me it could cause a destruction of my thyroid, or infertility, for you it could cause arthritis. And so so many different names can get given to so many different conditions that are caused by the same thing.
Hey, Inspire Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers, John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in to another Inspire conversation. We're bringing back a new friend of the Inspire channel. A lot of you know him. He's been on the scene as a prolific filmmaker, incredible information about holistic health, about the truth of so many medical myths. He's helping so many people. I'm talking about Jonathan Otto, who's an award-winning investigative journalist, natural health researcher, and documentary filmmaker. He's created over 20 powerful docuseries watched by millions worldwide, exposing the root causes of chronic disease and revealing life-saving protocols from the world's top doctors and health experts. From autoimmune secrets to vaccine secrets, and his newest series, Awaken, Jonathan has fearlessly uncovered truths the mainstream won't touch. His mission: to empower people with knowledge, faith, and natural solutions to heal, thrive, and live courageously. Please welcome with me, and we're talking to him in the future. He's in Australia, Mr. Jonathan Otto. Great to see you, brother.
Hey, John. Hey, good to see you too, my friend. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, thank you for coming back. Jonathan, we were supposed to record this interview a couple weeks ago, and I got really sick, both my wife and I. And I emailed you that morning and I had to cancel, and you were so gracious. You immediately wrote back, "Hey, brother, remember, are you doing the urine therapy? Are you thinking of nicotine? Are you going under the red light?" And I was like, "I'm doing all of it, but I forgot about the red light." I was just so, when you're so down, your brain doesn't work. So after you sent me that email, I immediately went under the red light because I had such a headache. And within 15 minutes, I'm not kidding you, within 15 minutes, it was 80% better. It was such a relief. I was so grateful you mentioned this to me. And, this is something that you've been focusing on in the last years, is the incredible power of red light therapy that so few people still really know about. Why? Can you explain why my headache got better, in such a short period of time?
Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, firstly, like whenever somebody's going through something and they like, for example, they didn't ask me, so I'm always like, you'll notice that I'm like kind of gentle. Hey, not you have to do this, but hey, it's worth looking at this and considering this. And I say that for all the listeners right here. Like, we're giving you some ideas. We're certainly, no one's telling anyone what to do. So I just appreciate that you were receptive to that, because it's the
I appreciate you just so graciously, it was so sweet. You just said, "Hey, this and that," and that. And I was like, "Thank you. I forgot about it." And it helped me so much. So it was
Wow.
absolutely appreciated, brother. Thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, because as well, when you're talking to someone that's in the know, like you're super in the know, and so you know stuff. And so, if I was sick as well, I'd be like, "Bro, what am I missing? Can you like remind me what I might be missing?" And everyone's got something to offer each other, and so you just really want to understand that. But anyway, so I appreciate you hearing that out. It's always heartbreaking when you got all this knowledge and things that the people around you don't want to hear, and so you just have to watch them suffer, and you have to be okay with it, or at least deal with that. And so it's awesome when people hear you out, and I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching this interview, because it could help you so much. And so the reason why that worked for you, in my estimation, is because of a few different factors. So inflammation is actually part of the body's ability and its process and healing itself. So it's actually, people think of inflammation as bad, but it's good, but it becomes bad in the sense that the response is so severe that the response becomes a problem, hence this inflammatory response. So what red light therapy is doing is it's combating that inflammatory response, which is why you got a relief quickly. So it's actually quieting down that inflammatory response and easing that by like reducing swelling and like this headache. did this help with cellular hydration? In some ways it would, and there's this weird and interesting connection with light and oxygen, and how light is going to trigger the body to produce its own oxygen within the cells, which is super cool. It's the reactive oxygen species. And and then so that cellular respiration, which is the breathing of cells, is why you're allowing the body to quiet down the inflammatory response, because you're helping the cells get what they need to function. And you're dealing with this long-term issue, which there's some kind of combination of toxins or toxin in your body, and that your cells are now generating enough energy so they can combat that. So all these things are happening at the same time. Immediate relief means that there's been a drop in inflammatory responses and pain and things like this, and things that relate to the pain. Pain is the body trying to heal itself. That's why you feel pain when you hit something. It's because the body's rushing to this area. But if you can support it, then pain goes down. So you could support it with what it needs, and so it doesn't need to keep sending this signal that you don't like to feel. Like who likes pain? It's the kind of most scary things that we face. So there's lots of reasons. There's lots of cool things happening that were related to your brain and your thyroid and your eyes and your heart and your gut, because you're getting light over all these areas. And so they're all working together to help heal whatever this issue was that's ominous, that we don't really fully know. I don't know what that was. You don't know what that was, but we know we can support the body against it. And then you start, feeling better, and then you don't have long-term symptoms. Sounds like you're doing pretty good and you don't have a long-term issue as a result of that. Is that right or not right?
Oh yeah, that's absolutely correct. I actually, part of what I noticed is there was something in the air where we were, and we could noticeably feel it, and so we had to remove ourselves, go down to the coast, and that helped a lot. But I've had plenty of aha moments with red light over the years, just because when you have any kind of pain, injury, or whatnot, the results are fairly quick. And it's sort of astonishing if you think about it. Most people, it doesn't touch you, it doesn't, there's no physical manipulation in that sense. It is simply light, right? And
Yeah.
I think our understanding of the power of light and certain frequencies is still so small. But you have shared before, and you'll share today, some incredible studies that show improvements that most people don't even know are possible
Mm,
with just red light therapy. It's not surgery, it's not chemicals in the body, it's healing frequency. I mean, it's the healing
mm.
frequency of the infrared. What was your aha moment? What happened for you that sort of turned you on to red light?
Yeah, sure. And when we're chatting off camera, John, we were talking about, there was that awakening that everyone here has had, that something is not right in the medical system and that we need to look for answers. There was something I'm so grateful this doctor said it to me when I was struggling with so many different health conditions. I'm talking about Ross River fever, glandular fever, Epstein-Barr, cytomegalovirus, Lyme disease, chronic boils over my body. Like they're like Job from the Bible. And I'm like, why have I got boils over my body? And painful, and like having those through my teenage years. And then chronic dehydration and chronic nausea. And so I remember asking this doctor, and I kept coming back to him, and I was just like, but it's got to be a solution. Like, you can help me. And I would just, but it was a weird experience to kind of keep knocking on the door, where it's like, why did I feel like I was like a Bible proselyte that was going door to door, which is cool. I'm not saying there's any problem with that, but why did I feel like I was this person with somebody that's angry on the other side of the door? Why am I feeling like this? Isn't he supposed to be helping me? But then he said the most weird thing to me. It was like, Jonathan, would you come to me if you had a problem with your car? And I said, well, no. And he said, why you coming to me with this problem? And he was just openly, honestly admitting that I have no idea what to do. So like, I can't fix your car. And I appreciated that. And that was a great question to ask me, because I'm thinking, well, I got to work this out. And if it's to be, it's up to me. And so that, John, really sent me on that pathway of, okay, I've got to find this out. And so I took my degrees that I got that had a major in investigative journalism, and then education. And then I went into finding out like solutions in the natural health realm and became a producer on a series called The Truth About Cancer. And that was 11 years ago. And I just went headlong into that space and then worked out how to combine different therapies, had a gift and ability to connect dots and then to cross-reference things, and then a low threshold of being able to try and experiment with things. So people would look at things and then and just wonder about them, and then I'd say, well, yeah, what would happen if I injected urine straight into this thing on my body? And then I'm like, wow, it took it away and I don't have any pain. I've been dealing with pain and for years in this area of the body. Or I would just find these different things and I'd look at it, and then I had the ability to retain the facts as well, so I could reference it and understand it. And then hence why I became in that position where there's top doctors around the world in clinics that have me come and consult with them and how best to treat their patients. And when I can work things out, it's fun. And so it's cool when you think about that backstory, right? About this doctor that wasn't able to help me. And I actually never told that story in connection to that now. And that is a really beautiful thing for me to think about, being able to be on the other side of that and help doctors to be able to best treat their patients. So anyway, that's really cool.
I just wanted to say that's incredible. And actually that's some humility, self-awareness on the part of the doctor to say it. It's like, dude, I'm not the right guy. I don't know what, so you have to figure it out. But there's what you have is what I call this joyous, great obsession. Like, when I watch your work, like you have this childlike enthusiasm to go more deeper and deeper and deeper and study and find the facts and find the solutions, and then with all that enthusiasm share it with people and just see how it can help them and change their lives. I love that, and I think every great person out there that's doing great work has that. It's a form of obsession. Like you breathe it, you live it, you just, and to me that excitement is palpable every time I see you, every time I watch something that you're doing, or now that you're coming on our show. And it's sort of it's very uplifting. And the beauty is, we can find upliftment even when we're in pain, and if we know that there are solutions, which is exactly why we're talking, to bring solutions to people that are far simpler than what the mainstream has ever taught us, right? So, in what have you, what was sort of lately, what were your discoveries, that, because you're going deeper and deeper into all the positive effects for red light, what are some of the recent discoveries that have even surprised you, maybe?
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. This is great. I would say let's go with like everyone here likes short, quick fixes, right? Who doesn't? Like, but you're not supposed to want them because they're not common. But if you got it, why wouldn't you want it? Right. And so let's go with the quick hits first. Okay. So what about 17% eyesight improvement after 3 minutes? How about that? Would that be quick enough for you? These are clinical studies, double-blind placebos. Scientists just saying, what would happen if we put someone in front of red light for 3 minutes, and what would happen with their myopia? And the answer was 17% improvement immediately.
That is unheard of. Go to an eye doctor and ask him what could improve your eyesight in 3 minutes, 17%. And they'll say it's impossible. There is no improvement in eyesight. You need glasses
Mm-hmm.
or LASIK surgery.
Yeah,
I love that.
exactly. It's great. And then like my wife, it was complaining like 3 nights ago, and I just like, look, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. And I could not get her just to do red light therapy. I just couldn't get her to do it. And
What?
so, yeah,
Really?
I know. She's lying in bed crying, and she's like, "I'm so angry." I'm like, "Why, babe?" And she's like, "This acid reflux." And I don't know. I actually, to this point, haven't done research on acid reflux and mitochondria and red light and stuff. But I was like, I'm sorry, babe. I really am sorry. But there's 2 different types of people in this world. And I'm just sitting in bed, just acting like an idiot. There's 2 different types of people that suffer in this world. There's the people that suffer because they don't know about red light therapy. There's the first group. Then there's the second group. They know about red light therapy, but they don't do it. So they suffer as a result because they're too stubborn to do it. And you fall
I
into
hope
that
your
second.
wife's not watching this one. I
She
really
said,
do. I really do.
And then I say, and you fall into the second category. And then I was really shocked. She just burst out laughing. I was like, oh, thank you. Um,
Oh, wow. Wow. She was in pain and she laughed? Wow.
She's
Man,
Puerto
that's
Rican, so I poked the bear, but I think it was just so shocking. He's like, and so anyway, she was on it the next day, and then the next day she's telling me I didn't have to squint at all last night when I was driving. I get a headache because I have to squint because I can't read the signs, and I get anxiety because and I didn't have to do any of that. And so like that's really cool. But we've got the clinical studies to back it, and that was just because I kept harping on about this and open your eyes, babe, for 3 minutes, and just do it. And so I'm a broken record, and that's the hard part about being around someone like me, because if I see someone suffering, I'll call them stubborn to their face. And but she's using it now. So this was the study here published in Scientific Reports. And so it was like, for this latest study, scientists wanted to establish what a single 3-minute exposure would have. And so then, and this was the UCL research in flies, found that mitochondria displays shifting workloads. So it's just to do with circadian rhythm as well. In summary, researchers found that there was, on average, a 17% improvement in participants' color contrast vision when exposed to 3 minutes of 670 nanometer long wavelength deep red light in the morning, and the effects of this single exposure lasted for a week. However, when the same test was conducted in the afternoon, no improvement was seen. Okay, so it needs to be the morning, and then you'd say, yeah, it's pretty cool, right? But then they would say, well, why did it only last a week? And the answer is because they only did it for 3 minutes once a week. So if you did it more consistently, you could expect better results for longer periods of time. And arguably, what if you could get 100%? And what if it could last? These are good questions to ask because you are more rigorous. They only did it 3 minutes once. But what do you think of that, John?
I have a question, Jonathan. Might sound stupid, but when I'm under the red light, I always have my eyes closed. Would that be eyes closed or eyes open?
No, it's not a dumb question at all. These were eyes open. These were
Oh.
yes, these were eyes open, and you can look at the studies, and you put this into Google, and you could see them even using like things that look like flashlights over their eyes. Um,
Hmm.
and they're not flashlights, and you wouldn't want to do that with just a tinted flashlight because it's got a high flicker rate, and that's the damaging
Mhm.
aspect there. But yes, these were eyes open. That being said, a lot of people are going to get benefits in their eyesight by even having their eyes closed, because you get through the eyelid. It will still get through the
Of
eyelid if
course.
you're feeling really gun shy. Other thing you could do is have your eyes open but not look into it, but look away from it. For me, what do you think I do? Look straight into it and have my face right against it, like pressing against it. But that's me. Don't do what I'm doing. Just because I'm supposed to push things to the extreme to make sure. And but I've done the
Well,
research so that, yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just
Yeah.
remember there was a period in my life where I was really doing like long-term sun gazing in the morning and in the evenings, and up to 27, 28 minutes. And I had the same effect on my eyesight. I had always a little bit of blurry vision, far, and I remember feeling like it's gone. It's completely reversed, right? So, same principle. We're working with the same frequencies there. Yeah.
You got it. You got it. Exactly. And this is the reason why it works. So it's to do with this cytochrome signaling. So it's red light may improve cortical blood perfusion and may be a critical tool for control of myopia via cytochrome, which is cytochrome C oxidase, and nitric oxide signaling. In all, application of red light may retard myopia effectively, possessing high potential for prevention of myopia onset and control of myopia progression. Same principle exists for macular degeneration. What people start to realize is that the all these classifications is somewhat a scam. And they're like 75,000 different diagnoses of disease is a scam, because something that is there is only one disease, and the one disease is the departure from the original design, which is just things degrading and falling apart. And how is it that I could take mercury and I could just drink it, and you could drink it, and for you it could cause schizophrenia, for me it could cause a destruction of my thyroid, or infertility, for you it could cause arthritis. And so we're so many different names can get given to so many different conditions that are caused by the same thing. And so the key is to look at how you can, so look at a study on improving eyesight and then macular degeneration, and realize that it's the thing that helps to, make the eye function normally is naturally going to help solve the problem with the classified diagnosed disease. And remember, entitled people need a title. So we need a title for these symptoms that we're having. So now we've got a name for it. Now we've got a drug for it. Instead of saying, this is a departure from the original design, what does it lack? And so hence why you look at things like light and say, well, if the eyes get light, they function properly. And then we're seeing, I've got a case of a 92-year-old with macular degeneration. And within the 21 minutes after she had it over her eyes, she says, what's wrong with the TV? What do you mean? The carer says to her. She says, there's something wrong with the TV. I can read it. Like, who changed it? Who did this to the TV? Like, who got me a new TV? She had some mild dementia. And she could fully read it. She flips to the stocks channel. She could fully read it with macular degeneration and myopia, where she can't read. She hadn't been able to for something like 6 years. She reads everything now and goes out for dinner. She can see out the peripherals of her eyes. It's been only like 3 weeks. And she just sent me a video testimonial wanting to thank me. It was really beautiful. So, all these different names and diagnosis conditions give the body, and we just talked about eyes now, but like now you look at eyes are part of the brain, which makes sense why studies like this exist. There was 11 participants aged 26 to 62. They only had 18 sessions over 6 weeks. They were only 10 minutes long, and there were significant improvements in various executive function and memory tests. Additionally, participants reported better sleep and fewer symptoms of PTSD, along with improvements in their daily activities and interactions. And there's the clinical study there showing these results. Asthma and lung. This was the girl that you could see that she suffered a stroke when she was born. She's 9 years old now, so 9 years later. And she describes the result that she had, which was published in the British Medical Journal here from this institute, of being able to have complete normal social abilities, and the physicians and the mother all report complete normal test scores for her academic abilities and normal social abilities. And she describes as being normal and being able to have people like her for who she is, and recalls being bullied when she had this condition. So you just keep seeing these amazing breakthroughs, and that's post-stroke now. And so, okay, so you start connecting the dots. What are all these things have in common? That cytochrome C oxidase and nitric oxide, they're to do with cellular respiration, stroke, deprivation of oxygen to the brain, even lung health and asthma. These are, you keep coming back to these themes of oxygen, and oxygen is the thing that you can't live without more than anything else. It's the highest priority. Next is water, next is food. How long can you live without food? How long can you live without water? How long without oxygen? So oxygen then becomes the most critical thing. And if you understood that light therapies trigger the production of oxygen within the cells, then you'd understand that these are causing the cells to undergo critical phases of what they need to complete their things like the electron transport chain, where the ability to transfer electricity from cell to cell, like they need to undergo these different processes that get stunted when they're deprived of oxygen, and then which include the production of reactive oxygen species like singlet oxygen that go and target the big C word, the big T word connected to the big C word. They'll target these unhealthy cells and cause apoptosis, and it's through the oxygen processes. And so really, really awesome. So these studies on asthma are really, really great. And we'll go into some other areas there, but some of these ones I wanted to just show you, the arthritis. And this one was showing that of these patients, this was helping with most clinical studies use the wavelengths of this range. This is an optical window. And it's a safe and effective treatment for arthritis. It's been proven as such. Here you can find this in the research there. And then bone health, in this case, this was increasing bone density, which is really important for everyone, and especially people that are elderly. So we need to make sure that they can keep the stem cells growing in the bones and forming bone cells and completing their function. Photobiomodulation benefits, we've looked at some of these things. These are some of the skin conditions, like with rosacea, and this was only 10 sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And here you see the big difference. And these are autoimmune conditions, rosacea, and this one is a similar type of, this is papulopustular rosacea, and you can see the big difference. And they tried everything in these, and these were 7 years of relapses and pain and all these types of things. And we shared wavelengths here for different conditions. But and when we talk about wavelengths, it's to do with these different abilities for the light to penetrate different parts of the body through the epidermis, dermis, subcutaneous tissue, muscle, bone, interior tissues, from 480 to 670, and then 810 up to 1060. You see the different wavelengths: 810, 830, 850. They're all getting into the bone and interior tissues. So once you understand that, then you can understand, okay, this is why these both are working for fat loss and fat burning and cellulite reduction. It's also to do with the fact that it's normalizing thyroid function. And then rosacea is working as well, and the anti-aging, acne, and all the different cosmetic, from hair growth to broken capillaries and wrinkles, and then the pain relief down to oral health, so to help with your teeth and gums, and mental stamina. Even the stem cell aspect here, which is stem cell regeneration. You've got liver function there, even studies on the breast C word. You've got tinnitus and arthritis, multiple sclerosis, asthma, depression, anxiety, Parkinson's, hypertension, fertility, eye health, acne. So you can see all the titles there, and even the 590. So these are all proven wavelengths that are doing all these various functions. But I'll pass it back to you, and we can see where you want to steer the ship here, John.
There was a question that came up last time after our conversation. I think it was a good question, fair question. So we've heard a lot about the negative effects of LED bulbs in everyday use, which has become so common. And then when you really, when you slow it down, you see the flickering. We know this has tremendously negative effects on the brain. So it's a fair question that somebody asked, is how come, this is LED used in the red light therapy? Why is this good, but the other LED bulbs that we find everywhere are not good? Can you
Yeah,
explain that?
exactly. That's so good, because like LEDs being bad is kind of like saying food is bad, because food can be bad and food can be good. And even saying something like nanoscience is bad, but nanoscience can be good. I mean, I'll just say the acronym CDS is measured in picometers, so it's even 1,000 picometers in a nanometer. So it's not bad because it's small. It's bad because of the certain bad nanotech that exists, and there's good nano delivery that exists. So same with light. So LED stands for light emitting diode. So it's just a diode that emits light. So can it be good? Can it be bad? Yes, it definitely can be bad. The high flicker rate is causing damage. Imagine if I was sitting in your house and turning the light on and off, on and off, and on and off, like a child that's not obeying its parents. And then all of a sudden you're like, man, I'm getting a headache. Like, this feels bad. Like, what's happening? So because your eyes are adjusting continually, and so they're changing continually. So you're like overworking them. And then, but if the light source doesn't flicker, is it good? And the answer is yes. It's extremely good. And so it's either it's a no flicker rate, or it's so low on its flicker rate that it's the body's registering it as if it was zero flicker. And so that's really critical, because the studies that I just showed you were all on LEDs. So that, like, you have to think about that logically, and you say, well, is it possible that something that could be very damaging could also then help heal somebody? And that's not very common. There are some anomalies for that, but when they're regenerative, that's not really ever something that goes together. When something is regenerative, especially if it's being used a lot over a long period of time, you'll see degradations happen. You'll see other things fall out. But in this case, you're seeing everything elevate because it's all these different areas. So the light source is not flickering, heavily tested, heavily proven. So you can get light sources from different bulbs. Like you can get a halogen bulb or an incandescent bulb. Halogen bulbs would be ones to be a little bit more concerned about, because the UV, and they put UV filters in there. The studies behind them being safe, they're debated, and you can look at the research on that. But then an incandescent bulb is going to have like good high heat, and I would recommend those for saunas and things like that. But the irradiance, so the amount of power that goes into the light, is a lot lower in some cases, not all cases, but it's 90% stronger irradiance in an LED device, because it's putting the power and putting it into light, and that's why you get so little heat. It's also part of the reason why you can get up real close to it, because like 90% of that power is going into the light, not into the heat. If the power goes into the heat, then it's received by the water in the body. And when it's received by the water in the body, it's raising the core body temperature, but it's not interfacing with the mitochondria. So what you want is high light irradiance for the mitochondrial function, and that's how you can expect all those benefits. So now here's a safety test on EMF. So I've got an EMF meter here. I'm going to put it against my computer. That's 19. So I'm getting high. Okay, now I'm going to put it against this device. What do you see?
I would say it shows 1 or 0. It's hard to tell, honestly. There's a little more. Yeah, now it's maybe a. Well,
Yeah, it's a 0. And yeah, exactly. It's a 0 because as soon as you see it not get any other signal, and now it continues to sit at 0, but then it's going to get a bit of Wi-Fi signal here, because I'm in an Airbnb here, and I've got Wi-Fi, so I can be on this call. And then now I move it over towards the computer, and so 0 EMFs emitted, which is awesome. And then the confusion as well, John, I may as well answer that with the blue light. The blue light has the same issues with the myth around it. If blue light was universally bad, then rainbows would be bad. And so people should have some questions for God on that one. And then the sun would also be bad during the day. And that's why the sky is blue. It's because of the light that the sun is emitting that has blue light. And so blue light being bad is clearly a myth once you just look at that biologically, and it's the best thing for circadian rhythm. That's why it's in all the skin health products. So you see all the masks have blue light in them, and so they're really good for skin bacteria. But again, if it's a consistent light source, it's not damaging. If it flickers and it's blue, arguably maybe a little worse, because then people are having it in the evening when you're supposed to be having more red, and so then hence why blue is going to get more of bad publicity, and people even wearing blue blocking glasses may get some benefit from that, but the issue is the flicker rate still. So don't ignore that and just kind of have rose colored glasses and not ignore the fact that your lights are flickering.
Jonathan, you've shared so much today in a previous conversation about the positive effect of red light on multiple conditions, the quicker healing, and improvement of eyesight. Now, those are all healing or sort of acute problems. But it would seem to me, from everything that I've read now, because we've used red light for many years, but I really started reading after all the stuff that you shared with me. It would almost seem that this is something that every household should have and use. What is the preventative use? Like, do you use it every day? And what is the preventative effect of using red light?
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, well, I would think about it, yes, as preventative, but people often won't do things for preventative. And I would say that even maybe even I wouldn't do things for preventative, even though I should. It's just like, think about like, there's something.
If it doesn't hurt, you don't think about it.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'll ever get this thing. Now I've got to go buy this thing, and now I'm going to go, just waste all my time. But what people do things for, and what I do things for, is the feeling that it gives me, and the like if you get sharper vision and you have less headaches and your muscles feel better, and like I could actually, be on this call, and if I wasn't live and we're just, I could have my shirt off and be in front of it, or a lot of calls I take, I'm just on audio, and so you literally, you don't have to do anything. Like you can just add it into your daily regime and just implement it. It's super simple and easy in that way. But I would do it for that reason. But yes, the benefit of being preventative to me is one of the most wonderful things. People will do it, and I'll do it, and I'm so grateful for that. And I think about how much I'm preventing different things, but I think about how I'm just stimulating my mitochondria that need light. And so the sun rises and sets every day. And so the sun is red 2 times in the day. You're biologically designed for red light twice a day. So 1, get it from the sun at very minimum. Don't walk away from this podcast doing nothing. Go get sunlight. 2, if you want to like increase things exponentially, then you can get much higher irradiance, so much higher power delivered. In this case, with this particular device as an example of that, 205 milliwatts per centimeter squared at 3 inches. And so that's night and day difference in terms of how much irradiance you can get compared to the sun. That's why people are getting such results on these devices, and devices like this. So that's a really good example. But I would do it. This is really good. And my sister, just like last night, I was like, "Oh, where were you?" She was like, "I got 5 minutes or 10 minutes of red light because of what she said to me." And I had this device is actually her device. I gave it to her for her birthday, and it's in my
Good
Airbnb right
brother.
now.
You're a good brother.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, and then funny, brother, because then when I'm here for like 3 weeks, I like took it off her. But the reason why I took it off her is because she wasn't using it. And then but
That's
then
your
after what I
siblings.
said to her, yeah, exactly. But now I'm going to give it back to her. But that's what you do. Like you take something away from someone. You can't have this anymore. And no, but I wasn't mean about it. I was like, "Can I borrow this? It's yours." Like I wasn't acting entitled to a gift. But what I was doing was I knew I was going to use it, and we just got off a flight, and we were just making sure no one got sick. And anyway, but what I told her then made her flip the switch. Now she's going to be doing it like, either every other day, because I told her this study from Birmingham University, 1 minute of exposure per day. This was a rat study, but it increased cell viability by 45%, 1 minute exposure for 5 days. So if you could make your cells 45% more effective, and it's like, what do you mean my cells? I don't care about my cells. What are you talking about? Everything is based on your cells. Your organ, your health and how you feel is based on your organs and your red blood cells, and then how those cells are functioning constitute how those organs function. So it's all down to cellular health. And so if you could by 1 minute increase cellular performance and viability so that they can perform functions by a 45% increase in better ability to do things, then everything is going to feel better. And that's 1 minute exposure. So what do? I'll do like weird times. I'll do it like sometimes every day, sometimes every other day, sometimes for an hour, sometimes for 5 minutes. But people should do whatever they think. It's got a timer on it, so it makes it easy. Some people will just get in front of it and then just do it every day religiously. People like David Nino Rodriguez, ring a bell, right? So,
Yeah.
and he's been using it for him and his family and his parents, and it's just changed his life. His eyesight and his back pain and libido and everything, like things have all changed, and he's doing it religiously, even twice a day, but he was doing it every day. But that's been awesome. So that kind of gives some insight into that, John.
So Jonathan, for our viewers are incredibly, they're self-reliant. Everybody's looking to sovereignize every stage of their lives, which I love, right? This is what we talk about. This is what the future really is. So if they say, "Hey, I really want to check this out. This interests me a lot," maybe get a device. Where can they find what is important? You have high quality standards. Really, we talked about this. So these are high quality devices, high quality bulbs. Not the cheap knockoffs you can get. Where can people find these devices? And what's your website? What's a good way for them to order? And a question I must ask, as many ask it, is it still on back order? What are the shipping times? That was very important last time around.
Oh, good. Yeah, absolutely. So, well, I'll start with that one then. So we are, yeah, okay. So at the time of this airing interview, imagining this is airing today or tomorrow, we're looking at around the 4-week mark, around there. So good to keep that in mind. We'll probably have something like an estimate of about the 4 to 6 week mark on the page, just to be conservative. But so it's really like we've got, it's it's funny, it's actually we have inventory. It's to do with our how many orders we had, and we moved to a new warehouse. So just talking about that, we're based out of Nashville, and so we
That's where we are.
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. How cool is that? Well, you could come actually visit our warehouse, but some days we're able to get 400 orders out the door, which is amazing. But we've really just grown that warehouse, and that's the reason for why we're about 4 weeks out. But that's really good actually, and so that means that people can get at the front of the queue and get their order in place, because we've had it where it's been at like 8 weeks and people have still been eager to place their orders because with what we're talking about here, it's a very unique device. It'd be worth waiting 6 months for, but it's not. We're not waiting that long for it. It's more like more like that 4 to 6 week mark. So yeah, it's super good in that way. We're getting through like a lot of orders. We have inventory and we're fulfilling. We have high demand, so that's kind of good to know. Like we're
That's
extremely
wonderful.
popular.
That
Yeah,
means
well, I'm
people are
grateful.
listening, people are using it. I mean, that's changing people's lives. So what's the website? Where can they find it?
Yeah, myredlight.com. And they could use Inspired at checkout. So that'll give an extra 10% off. So,
Thank you.
welcome. No, and thank you. So myredlight.com. And then so you could choose what you like for example, a panel like this obviously would be a high recommendation from me. You could use the coupon at checkout, Inspired. And while I was thinking of that in terms of results, like Flyover Conservatives, which is David and Stacey Whitehead, quite well known, great public figures. They got like a large following. But I remember they have all the top doctors on their shows. So this was like a real honor. They were willing to say this publicly. It was on our last show with them. They had their daughter who was getting married that weekend, which she's now married. And she had just this amazing transformation with menstrual pain, digestive issues. And then her husband-to-be, now husband, all this pain that he was having with some injuries, and they both used our red light products to get better, and they were all using it. But they were kind enough. David said this, that of all the guests we've ever had on, we have the most amount of people writing to us about the shocking and amazing transformations that they've had as a result of listening to and using your products by far of anyone that we've had on the shows. I'm not going to mention the names because they're all very famous doctors and well-known and great doctors that are doing great things. Two things, that's a testament to the power of red light therapy. So I've got that, I remember repeating this to someone, yeah, but it's unfair because I've got red light therapy. So it's unfair. It's like showing up to a go-kart race with a Formula One car. And it's like, well, it's not, so I'm not that amazing. It's just that it's red light is amazing. God is amazing. And then our products work because we've got the right wavelengths and the right irradiance. And so we're proud of that. So anyway, that was fun. Yeah.
And that's really the key issue. That's what I mean by being sort of having this obsession. You want to get it right. You want to get the optimum of the optimum. And that's what I love when people are like that, because it really means you care. So this is our second conversation, Jonathan. I assume we're going to do this again just because there's all around excitement, but it also means that very soon, I assume the first orders of our viewers will have been delivered or what were delivered recently. So we're going to soon get them testimonials, in which I look forward to sharing with you, because there's something, I don't think it ever gets old when you get to share something with people and it helps them and they let you know. I mean, it's just the greatest gift that you can receive, and it never gets old. So I want to thank you for coming on, sharing all of this, for doing the work that you do, doing it with so much love in your heart. It's really appreciated. And I look forward to doing this again with you and talk more about red light therapy. So thank you so much, brother. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much, John. I appreciate that too, man. It's lovely to be with you. And do you mind if I just close with a couple of thoughts, just so people are aware of a couple of things there?
I would have absolutely, that's what I wanted to say. I just wanted to send everyone over to myredlight.com, use the coupon code INSPIRED at checkout, look around, see what speaks to you. And then my question would have been, what are your parting words for today, Jonathan, for our audience?
Oh, that's awesome. I appreciate it. For me, just a quick couple of technical things, because when people understand the power of red light therapy, one, get in the sunlight, do all these things. And then if you're looking for devices, just look at the parameters. Like we shared different wavelengths. We shared 9 different wavelengths. We have all 9 of those wavelengths. And so that they just don't exist on the market, except, outside of what we have. And then dual LEDs. So every LED has 2 different frequencies coming out of the same LED. So it's both red and near infrared. So complete even spread. And then it's the 205 milliwatts per centimeter squared at 3 inches. So that highest irradiance. So look for those things because you want to get the results. And otherwise, sometimes people get disappointed because they don't get something that actually works. And so they heard that red light therapy could work, but it didn't really work for them because they didn't have something that was designed to work. And then as well, like with a full body panel, it'll like go from head to groin area, so it'll cover all your key organs. And then for people to understand, and there's a 50,000 rated lifespan hours. So what that means is that it lasts like for basically like a century, and to with a family using it with the rated lifespan. It's FDA class 2 certified, so they're not outlandish claims. They're like, you do the math on 50,000 hours at 30 minutes a day. So even if you've got a family using it, it'll last a lifetime for the family. You could pass it on. But anyway, so there's that. But like, then you work out what these types of things, because most people, they just get to a thing where they somehow think that they're worried that something is going to cost something. And it's just a misunderstanding, because you need to look at what something over the course of 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, and even 10 years, and you work out that it's cheaper than the cheapest thing that you could purchase, like a $20 supplement bundle. It's going to be far cheaper than that single supplement bottle, because if you do the math on that over 10 years and over a family using it, that actually do the math on a family of 4 like mine using that single bottle for each family member for 10 years, it's about $10,000. And then I need to, that's just 10 years. Now the next 10 years and the next 10 years. So the cheapest thing for people to possibly ever do is to get a red light therapy device in their home. And I really believe that, and I've seen that. And even a $10 chicken lamp, which people should do that if they don't have any other options. They should literally do these things, and I believe in them, and they should do them. But even after about 3 or 4 years, the red light, the bulb will cost you more because of energy consumption. So it's like, just, you invest in yourself up front, get that high radiance, get really high value, and let your body transform. And then you could see how many different things you end up saving money in. And because collagen products, skincare products, thyroid products, gut products, and it's going to work and help in all these different areas. So just look at all these things, and we've got payment plans, 6, 12, 24 months, or paying for all those kinds of things. So just look at those options. But then to end off, and so I just want to make it possible for people, because people learn about it and then they can't solve the problem in their mind. So then they put something off, and that's something that I can help people with, just to understand it, because of all the work I've done in like Kenya, and I'm still doing a lot of work in Kenya. We work at how we can solve problems with global poverty and development. So we're looking at how do we put money into the right things to keep people, healthy and safe and fed long term. And so we'll put money into seeds and tools. But okay, it costs a little bit more to get seeds and tools versus just the emergency food. I give them the emergency food, it runs out in a month. I give them the tool, it lasts for 10 years, and the seeds, and then they replant, etc. And so you think like this, and you can make a difference. But those are the big things that I wanted to share about how you can make it possible and solve those problems in your mind. And then from there, look, be healthy and be happy. And you get a chance to live this beautiful thing called life. And it's a gift. And it's awesome. You got people like John that has such a beautiful spirit, and these are great sources in your life. And then you end up leaning deeper into these great teachers and we're all given the gift to teach by God, and we then learn from each other, and we're blessed by each other, and through that knowledge that we get to where we want to get to, and we get the health that we need and the healing that we need and deserve. And I think about all the beautiful people that we've seen transformations with, and I think about Shannon, who was told that she would never get to do a marathon again. 2.5 weeks is coming up when the Boston Marathon is happening, and she's lying in bed because she can hardly walk because of Graves' disease, hyperthyroidism. She gets in front of the red light. The doctors are like, we can't understand how you, after 2.5 weeks on you're saying that you did it over red light, having it in front of your thyroid, now your markers have normalized. We can't explain this. And she went to compete in that marathon. So it's like knowledge that sets people free, and the applied knowledge of people taking action on that. So be like someone like Shannon that takes action on an idea that ends up becoming a life-changing reality for her, that allows her to fulfill her greatest dreams. So thanks again, John.
Jonathan, if I think about what the future looks like in terms of health, business as a spiritual path, and sort of the consciousness economy, that's what we call it. I think of people like you, and coincidentally, you are speaking to us from the future, from our perspective. You're all the way in Australia. So this is what the future looks like. The future looks like a win-win-win. There are no more losers in this equation. Thank you again, and thank you for making it available, for having different options and payment plans, and allowing people, to make it happen, even if maybe the full amount isn't there at this point in time. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to our next conversation. And thank you for the inspiration, brother. It truly is
Mm.
inspiring.
Thanks so much, John.
Inspire Tribe, thank you so much for tuning in. We love you, we appreciate you, and we will be back with you again very, very soon.